Thank you for coming. We would like to start the meeting with a prayer.
Almighty God, with the coming of spring, you give us the joy of celebrating our Lord's resurrection. Give us also the joy of life in your service as we serve our school community. Please show us your guidance. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, we will call the meeting to order. We will start with individual student growth.
Good morning, good evening, everyone.
All right.
You know what, earlier today, I was a week off. Now I'm at the wrong time of day. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming. We traditionally start all of our meetings focusing on a couple of our guiding principles. And our number one is individual student growth, and so that's where we start. And I know a number of you are here to celebrate tonight. So we are going to start with Harvard Model Congress. If you were a part of that group, please go ahead and come forward. The Harvard Model Congress delegates won awards this year at Harvard. Mr. Betts? It's an opportunity for Franklin Community High School students to engage with American government through role play and simulation to better understand civic involvement in government functions. Working with hundreds of students from across the country, our students represented Franklin well. They prepared thoroughly, engaged with peers, and passed key legislation, showcasing their dedication and skills in real-world political scenarios. Participants that won awards are the following. Marnie Moore was the best delegate in Senate Small Business. She's on the tennis courts this evening. Noah Woods. Noah, just step forward, if you would. Take a step forward, please. There you go. This is Noah. Noah was an honorable mention in House Foreign Affairs. Samantha Strait and Savannah Carpenter were honorable mention in the Supreme Court. And Kellen Schaff was honorable mention in Senate Armed Services. Please join me in congratulating these students on a job well done.
We're going to start with Mr. Betts is filling in for Mr. Hill tonight because he could not be here. Talk a little bit about the trip, and then we'll have each delegate introduce anyone that's with them today.
Yeah, Mr. Hill, Mrs. Perkins, and I got to be the chaperones for the trip this year. We take juniors and seniors from the high school to Harvard, and the kids get to do, well, I mean, everything. They're trying law cases. They're writing legislature and passing it through just like you would in our government for the United States government. And it's really awesome to see our kids go through from beginning to end over 4 days, 3 days, 4? I can't remember. It goes by so fast. We had such a great time. Our students were amazing ambassadors for Franklin and just did an amazingly awesome job the entire time we were there, and couldn't have been prouder to be from Franklin Community Schools with our students. So I will let Mrs. Perkins tell about her experience and then let the kids go from there.
Hello, everyone. So this was my first year helping with Harvard Model Congress, and it was really awesome and extremely special. One of my favorite parts was just seeing some of the confidence grow as the conference went on, because it could be a little overwhelming at first. I was a little overwhelmed, and I wasn't even one of the students, because there's thousands of high schoolers in this one hotel, and some of them are coming from private schools and New York City, and we are special because we have our kids from Indiana, and we had a ton get recognized at the end because they just did such a good job preparing. We did a lot of practices throughout, and it was really cool to see the confidence grow as they went on, and see them up there speaking and just putting all their hard work into practice.
Tell us your experience, but also introduce anyone that's with you tonight.
Hi, I'm Noah Woods, senior, and I was earned an honorable mention for the House Foreign Affairs Committee, which had like 50 people on it, so it was good. It was real slaughter. And I'm joined by my parents, Shalise and Stephen Woods, who did not want to sit with me for some reason, but they're here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Samantha Strait. I'm a junior, and I got honorable mention for Supreme Court. Supreme Court was a special committee, so outside of the usual House and Senate, where we, as a partnership, debated other teams on cases and setting case precedent as Supreme Court would. It was very competitive atmosphere. It was very scary, but it, it worked out.
I'm Kellen Schaff, and I was part of the Senate Armed Services. It was a smaller committee, I think the smallest up here, but it was 25-ish people, and just being in Boston was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the experience, and I think it's a great program. I'm here with my mom and dad, Chris and Megan, and yeah.
Go ahead, take it back and introduce your parents.
I'm here with my parents and my brother.
All right. Well, I don't remember exactly the total number of years, but I know that Mr. Jackson started this back in either the 80s or the early 90s. Steve, do you know exactly when we started? When was
Any
it?
of you participated?
96? So that's just an amazing thing that we get to do. And in their life, they're doing everything the House and Senate and Supreme Court would be doing in real life. So in that very condensed short period of time, they're trying to pass laws and convince people to do things. They're trying to represent cases and then also get to meet new friends. And I think that's probably the most engaging thing, because all the kids, when they're outside of the structured time, they're interacting with a lot of kids from across the U.S., and that's really special. So well done and congratulations. And we'll get one picture here. And yep. All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, everybody.
Boys Wrestling State Tournament. Kellen Fleur is with us. Coach Jen Tante, please come forward as well. Sophomore at Franklin Community High School, Kellen Fleur made the most of his first trip to the IHSAA State Finals. He finished an outstanding season as the 6th best 215 weight class wrestler in the state of Indiana. Please congratulate Kellen.
Want to talk about your experience and then introduce anybody that's with you?
It was kind of hard. Everything about it, because I broke my nose like a week before sectionals. Had to wear like a mask for 3 weeks, so it kind of screwed up everything. But I still managed to do pretty good in the end. And I'm with my parents and grandparents, and probably should thank my coaches for that. So thanks, Coach Dante and my dad, Coach Kyle.
All right.
And earlier today, speaking of my weights coach, Coach Hardy told me I should probably shout him out at this too, so shout out Coach Hardy.
I just wanted to say, really, it was no surprise that, he probably won't like to hear this, but it should have happened his freshman year. That's a good thing, really. That's the talent that he has. So we're looking for bigger and better things. I know getting on the podium was awesome, but that's not his end goal. And we're going to see, in the future, I think we're going to see some bigger things.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Coach, you've created quite a program, and I know there would like to see a few more kids up there, but I know Kellen and the rest of the team will look forward to great successes. And Kellen, what's the summer look like? Are you continuing to wrestle and also get ready for football? Is that right?
Yeah,
Yep.
a lot of football and wrestling.
Well, enjoy your summer.
Congratulations, Kellen. You're welcome. Did you break it wrestling? Did you break your nose wrestling?
Thanks. Congratulations.
Sorry. Whoa. Congratulations. Swimming and diving state tournament. Girls swimming and diving. If you're part of the swimming and diving team on the girls' side, please come forward and Coach Zach DeWitt. The girls' high school swim team wrapped up the 24-25 season with a 5th place team finish, which marks the 5th time in program history the girls have finished in the top 5 at the state finals. Please join me in congratulating the ladies on a great job well done. Congratulations, Coach. Congratulations, ladies.
Well, I'm going to start this one. I have to talk about this person, right, this athlete next to me. I've never seen anyone get second place and still feel like, dang it. It was the greatest race you could have seen, because I think the girl from Carmel had won the 2 previous years, is that right? And you did a great job swimming against her. I know I talked to Coach just a little bit right after that. You made all of us proud, and I know you might have been a little disappointed, but getting second place, and that was pretty cool. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about where you're headed next year, and then introduce anybody that's with you tonight.
I'll be attending the University of Alabama to continue my athletic and academic career, and I'm here by myself tonight.
I'm going to be swimming at Ball State and studying exercise science, and I'm here with my stepdad, Chris.
So I'm only a sophomore, so I'll be continuing my high school career, leading my team, and I'm here with my mom, Jennifer.
Well, if this pencil here is any indication, Dr. Clendenning thinks I'm sharp, which means I think I'll be back for my 14th season here at Franklin Community High School.
Congratulations.
All right. You want to scoot over?
A little bit.
Okay. Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you. Coach DeWitt, just stay here.
Okay. Yep.
You just hang out. The boys swimming and diving team, please come forward. Join Coach up front, please. The high school boys team had the chance to climb back into the top 10 at the state finals for the 6th time in school history and the first time since 2021. With 102 points, they came in 8th place, which is the 4th highest team finish in program history. Please join me in congratulating our boys swimming and diving team.
We'll start with Coach Shakepart.
I guess I'll just talk about both seasons, hopefully an abbreviated version. We were blessed with a lot of leadership at the top. I'm talking about juniors and seniors. Quite frankly, we've got a lot of dedicated athletes. I'm sure you guys have heard the rumors of how much we practice and whatnot, but the truth of the matter is it's a close-knit group of kids. I'm beyond blessed to be a part of it all. These gentlemen here to my left, we are always talking about, restoring Franklin to what it deserves to be and what it should be, which is a top 10 perennial program year in and year out, regardless of whoever the seniors or the juniors are. So credit to this crew, they've certainly done that, and now we're off to the next challenge of maintaining that.
Introduce yourself, tell us what you use. Yep.
I'm Seth Russell, and I'm here by myself.
I'm Jacob Meinzinger. I'm still undecided of where I want to go to college, and I'm here with my mom and dad.
I'm David Barnett. I'm still undecided where I want to go to college, and I'm here with both my parents and my sister and my 2 brothers.
Thanks, everybody. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thanks. All right, hey, yeah, thank you. And we get pictures of everybody else that didn't come, so.
Tell him not to run away.
Oh, Zach, no, where?
Well, he can now.
Oh,
He'll
okay.
be back up in a minute. Academic All-State. We had 2 students earn Academic All-State through the Indiana Basketball Coaches Association. Congratulations to Maggie Doty for receiving honorable mention, Academic All-State in girls basketball, and Colt Nelson for receiving Academic All-State in boys basketball. Please join me in congratulating these outstanding student athletes.
And tell us where you're headed.
Congratulations, Colt. Congratulations, Maggie.
Hi, I'm Colt Nelson. Next year I'll be attending Spring Arbor University. It's a small school up in Michigan. And I'm here with my dad, Travis, and hi, Mom.
Hi, I'm Maggie Doty. Next year I'm going to UIndy to study biology for pre-dentistry, and I'm here with my mom and dad, Bill and Jennifer Doty.
All right. Well, congratulations on your great basketball and academic career. It was so much fun watching you both play. And Colt, what do you think of volleyball?
I love it.
So Colt's now on our volleyball team since basketball's finished. He's getting ready to head into Spring Arbor. But we won the first ever county championships in volleyball this past weekend. So congratulations on that as well.
Congratulations. The next guiding principle that we would like to celebrate tonight is collaboration. And we have 3 topics of celebration tonight. We are going to start with Needham Elementary's 100 anniversary celebration with Mr. Purley, Mrs. Stewart. Thank you both for being here. And you get a pencil.
You do.
Thank you both.
Okay, we had a 100-year celebration for Needham. In 1924, Needham, the old Needham School on 44 was built, but we found through research it went back to 1800s. The Needham schools. There were 9 schoolhouses. And we planned a 100-year celebration, and you want to talk a little bit?
Sure thing. Melissa left out a key fact of this, and really it's all inspired by her. She was cleaning out some things from her parents' house, and she discovered this album that her mom had put together in the 50s. And that kind of inspired that. When we turn around and we look in the cornerstone inside the building, it says 1924 on it. This was about a year and a half ago. And I said, we've got to celebrate this. And so we did. Had a committee put together, and they did a great job getting things organized, getting the word out. We had about 300 people come to the event, some in their 80s, and some there were only 8. So we had old bulldogs and new bulldogs all around. All of the 4 principals that have been principals since the 70s attended the event as well, which is something pretty cool for Needham Elementary School. I have some gifts for our school board, a drawing of the old Needham building that was distributed as that building closed and the new building opened in 1989. And there's the powerful part and a key part of education. And I think it's relationships and connections. Doesn't matter where you go or what you do, you're always connected back for years. And my aunt happened to stop in Needham Elementary School a few years ago, and she saw this picture, and she said, Rita Roberts, that's our art teacher in Salem, Indiana, where I graduated high school. And she drew this picture back in 1988. So it's just a web that is always connected in education. I think that's one of the most powerful parts, and we saw that at Needham with our celebration.
We're going to do interviews. The kids, we read the articles all the way back and they summarized. So we pulled in all the standards and they summarize, and in May we're going to do interviews. So if you weren't on that initial interest, because once a bulldog, always a bulldog, if you'd like to be interviewed, I'm sending those invites out. So let us know at Needham, because our kids are doing an oral history and learning how to do that. So we'll be writing to the last days of school.
Congratulations. Oh, don't go anywhere. We gotta get a picture. Did you want to hand those? You gonna walk up and do that? Okay. Congratulations. That's a great project.
Congratulations, and thank you so much for everything that you did to integrate it into the classroom. I loved that word. Did you all hear it? I heard someone say it. What would it be? Standards? Mid-State Conference Coaches of the Year. We have 3 who will be coming forward. The Mid-State Conference named the 2025 Winter Coaches of the Year. The Coaches of the Year are voted on by each sport's head coaches, and this winter, Franklin Schools had 3 recipients out of the 4 sports. Congratulations to these outstanding coaches. Zach DeWitt, boys and girls swimming and diving. Jim Tante, boys wrestling. And Tina Tante, girls wrestling.
Congratulations.
And with us this
You
evening is
do.
also our athletic
It's a
director,
big
Bill
day.
Doty. Bill, come on down.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Coach, you get 2 of these.
Congratulations. Nice job. Congratulations, Tina. Congratulations, Jim. You're very welcome. Congratulations, Coach.
You want to say? Good.
Well, my name is Bill Doty. I'm the athletic director. These 3 individuals are wonderful representatives of Franklin Community Schools and the athletic department and all the kids, just based on their hard work, their dedication to kids, and the individual student growth that you witnessed earlier, is obviously due in part by our students, our student athletes, and their hard work, but it's their leadership of these individuals up here that pushes them forward. So I want to personally thank you 3 for all your hard work for our student athletes.
I think he said we're up here, but as Bill said, it's student athletes, they have to perform. So, we get credit for what they do. I truly believe that. It takes a staff, it takes administration, it takes a whole lot of things to be successful in these endeavors that we get into. So, just like when Kellen was here, he's headed off to a football practice. And I'm sure when football practice is done, there'll be 20 minutes left of wrestling practice, and I'm sure he'll finish the wrestling practice. So that's the kind of dedication we see out of our athletes. Yeah. Did you hear me anyway?
I get the one that works. I just wanted to say I'm honored to be in this position, to be a mentor and a role model to young women, especially wrestlers. I'm very passionate about the sport and the impact it's made in our family with our children and the other communities that we have also coached and worked in. So I'm just honored to be in this position, so thank you.
More than anything, I just want to say I've got the greatest job in the world. I've got another job, but I tell the kids all the time, it's a get-to-do thing for me. It's not a have-to-do thing, and I'm so blessed to spend it with so many great kids. You guys probably don't know this, but we've got so many very involved parents that put in a lot of hard work. These kids have hot breakfast every morning. I never do any of that. I don't do any of the planning. I don't do any of the warm-ups or the T-shirts, all the stuff that maybe I had to do a little bit previous to this. And again, like Coach Tante said, it takes a village. I'm just like one small piece of all that. So I appreciate the award, but it's an indication of something far greater than that.
Congratulations.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Congratulations. We have one more group to celebrate this evening, but I want to second something that Coach DeWitt said. Thank you to all of the parents and the family members and loved ones in this room, coaches, teachers. It takes everyone working together. So students, please make sure that you thank those who have been instrumental in your life for your success. With that, I'm handing the microphone to Robin Betts.
Thank you. So tonight we are celebrating the conclusion of our third class of My FCS Academy. It is a group of parents, community members, just really anyone out there who wants to learn a little bit more about Franklin Schools. We meet for about 90 minutes a month for about 7 months over the course of the school year, and they really get an inside look as to what happens in Franklin. The first time we meet, they hear from Dr. Clendenning and learn all about the mission, vision, guiding principles, who we are. And then we move into speed dating, where they get to travel around and hear from his executive team and kind of what they do. We really try to make it not a sit and get. We want it to be interactive, conversational. So for that reason, we try to keep the group pretty small. But we are very excited that we are concluding tonight with this third group of people, and we will be taking applications for the fourth group pretty soon. So if you or anyone you know are interested, watch social media or our website. So if you want to come down.
I get one more picture. Okay. Well, maybe we can get someone else to grab it for you. Yeah, so you could.
Not for enough.
Can we squeeze in everybody?
We might have to do
Thanks, everybody. We have one more recognition. On Thursday, we did groundbreaking for our Cub Academy. And we had kids from all ages, parents, community, collaborating to come forward to put a shovel in the ground to get ready to build a preschool center. And Robin does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. You got to see at my FCS Academy. She put forth a lot of effort to make sure groundbreaking was very successful. The only thing she couldn't control was the weather. It was a little chilly, but other than that, it was a fabulous day for Franklin Schools. So I just want to personally thank her on behalf of the board and everyone in the community for all the effort she does kind of behind the scenes, making things happen. So Robin, this little gift is just to say thank you very much. Do you want to introduce anybody with you? Well, here. Yeah.
You can introduce them. My name's Robin Betts, and my dad, Rick, is here this evening.
All right. Well, that will conclude all the recognition. You're more than welcome to stick around. We're going to hear from Schmidt and Associates and learn some curricular things. But if not, it's a good time to exit.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Look at that. That's a lot of people. It's great.
Okay, we will move on to the consent agenda. Are there any comments about that?
Just wanted a couple of things to highlight. One, we have a donation for Union Elementary. This past weekend, they went to, or the past Thursday and Friday, they did the historical tour. Because of the rising cost of a lot of things, we had $1,000 donated anonymously to help offset some of that. So we want to thank that person for doing that. You'll also notice on today's agenda our Blind Low Vision Services MOU. I believe this is going to be the last MOU as we close out Earlywood, and this is with Greenwood Schools, and it is kind of very similar to the one that we proposed to the other school districts as well. We do have one person that I want to highlight on the personnel report. Diana Porterfield is going to retire from the Creekside Cafeteria after 27 years of service. So we want to say thank you to her. We did receive the special education behavior grant, and several months ago we applied for that, and we have about $82,000, and that's going to be used to partner with keynote speaker. The gentleman who was executive director for RISE is going to come in and have a summer session with us, and then continue all next semester looking at behaviors and how to best support all of our kids.
That's with staff?
That's for staff, yes, all staff. Thank you.
Okay, are there any questions? Just need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, have a first and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Consent agenda passes. We'll go on to superintendent reports.
Okay, can you hear me okay? At the end of each quarter, I will provide the board with some financial reports to let you know where we stand. The first report that you have, we refer to as the financial statement. So this is going to show all of our accounts, and if you go over to the very last column, the percentage spent, which right now we're at the 25% point in time. And then if you look at the green lines, that shows percentage spent for the entire budget. So right now in total, we're 20% spent at the 25% point in time. I also usually run through these reports, and anything over that 25%, I'll offer some explanation on. Some of the 25 through 28%, the overage is caused by the salaries and overtime, and that will kind of level off as we go through the year, because we have some part-time employees that don't work in the summer, so you'll see that kind of shore up as the year goes on. But the first line item that is at 41.48% payments to other government units, that's a little bit over where it should be, because this is our transfer tuition, where we send students to other facilities for their education. It's a little higher than what we're used to. And then also, we pay ahead for C9. So we have paid through June. So that explains a little bit of the overage. And then if you go down to the transportation support services, that and the operations and maintenance are around 31%. Transportation, we always run a little bit high there. That's pretty typical. And then on the maintenance side, we've had a lot of overtime with the snowstorms that we've gotten, and the overtime associated with that. And then we also have a little bit of overage with utilities, but hopefully that'll kind of level out over the summer as well. And then down below, that part of the spreadsheet shows actual cash and bank balances. If you go to the column titled Balance on Hand, it looks like we're $1.1 million under on the 2025 pre-K bond, but we've actually been spending ahead of the bond sale for design services and getting some of those projects bid and quoted. So if you add that 1.1 million back in, we're about the same balance as we were this time last year. Any questions on the financial statement?
Tina, I did have a question. I see that the regular programs are listed twice, once at the very top and then just under that first line, and they have different numbers. What are the differences in those two items?
I'm not sure about that.
Because the one saying that we haven't spent any of the money, that's why I was wondering.
Right. And then the special programs.
Oh, yeah, special programs as well.
Mm-hmm.
And remediation.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that and get back
Yeah.
with the board, if that's okay.
And then I had a question. Payment to other government units, is RISE considered in that?
Yes.
Is that, okay.
Yeah. And any other facilities that we send students to.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Sounds like about to have company.
Yeah.
It does.
All right, moving on to the second spreadsheet, our corporate financial report, our comparison financial report. This spreadsheet has two sides to it. The left side is our cash flow, and the right side is our budget results. A former board member asked us to add the previous year, so kind of for comparison purposes, so that's what you're seeing here. On the cash flow side, we are right on target where we thought we would be. As a reminder, we did approve some pay raises for support staff and teachers, knowing that was going to decrease our fund balance across the board, and we're pretty much right where we thought we would be with that. And then on the right side, similar to the financial statement, that just shows where we are as a percentage spent out of the budget. We're at 20%. We haven't made any debt service payments yet, so that kind of brings those numbers down. But you can see the education fund, we're almost 27% spent. Operations around 27, referendum 21, and then debt service at 0. So, and I've offered a little, I always put some notes down below just to kind of point out my observations with where we are. Any questions on that?
One question that you and I talked about today, I think it'd be good for the board to know. When you look at the operations fund, like year to date, when you look at last year and this year, you know, 2 million and 1.9 million, can you talk a little bit about how we collect money in that space for operations on property taxes?
Oh, on the cash flow side?
Yeah.
So that's going to fluctuate during the year. We do get some monthly payments. We started requesting that a few years ago, but our biggest property tax payments come in June and December. So those numbers are going to fluctuate quite a bit throughout the year. Probably the most important thing is this is exactly where we thought we were going to be. So. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the literacy cadre.
Dr. Worland.
Yes, we have a team with us this evening. Thank you so much, ladies, for being with us tonight. We have been with the literacy cadre for the last 2 years in partnership with Marian University and IDOE. We thought it would be helpful as our current MOU expires at the end of this year to talk a little bit about what the cadre is, why it exists, where we've been, and where we're headed. We have decided to continue with our literacy initiatives for the next couple of years, especially given a lot of the changes in the emphasis in the state of Indiana, the goals that we're trying to hit. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get going, but I will let the ladies introduce themselves and move forward. These aren't working, are they?
They're not, the board has that.
Can you see, is there something on your screen?
Yep.
Okay, great.
And when you beep to change, let us know so we can change.
We can
okay?
shift.
I'm Sarah Lynn. I am the literacy coach for Northwood Elementary.
Sarah, is that microphone on? You may have to turn it on.
It's got a green light.
Oh,
All right.
good job.
I'm Emily Flack. I'm the literacy coach at Webb Elementary.
You can move it down. You can move it.
I'm Julie Rowan. I'm the literacy coach at Creekside Elementary.
Can I just take it off?
Just take it off.
And I'm Becky Hall, and I'm the literacy coach at Union Elementary.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to
We're also missing Allie Warner. She's the coach at Needham Elementary. She is in the middle of, they just bought a house. So she is in the middle of moving houses tonight, and I believe she is Dr. Clendenning's new neighbor.
She is my new neighbor.
So watch out.
Yeah.
So we're going to share a little bit about what we do, why we're here, and kind of the role that we play at Franklin Schools. And that all really starts with some goals that Indiana has set for literacy achievement. And you've probably heard of some talk of science of reading. So we now have a formal definition for science of reading that comes from House Bill 1558. And that just states that the science of reading is a vast interdisciplinary body of scientifically based research that requires the explicit and systematic inclusion of the following elements: phonological awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. And so along with that comes goals to train teachers, current teachers, aspiring teachers, in evidence-aligned practices that are supported by decades of research around the science of reading. So the state is working to provide training and instruction and professional development for teachers in coordination with that goal. But the big data-driven part of that is that by 2027, the goal is for 95% of all students that take the iRead assessment to pass. To give you a little frame of reference, that's our current first graders at Franklin. So when they are third graders, the goal is that 95% of them will pass that iRead assessment.
Like Sarah just said, the Indiana goal is for students to pass iRead with 95% or higher by 2027. Here's kind of a look at where Franklin schools are right now, or have been. In 2023, we are at 82.7% passing rate, and in 2024, we are at 83.8% passing rate. This is for third grade. In 2024, that was our first year with the cadre, so you can see a little bit of an increase in that score. And these scores are district-wide. Our individual buildings vary a little bit by each school. We'll talk a little bit about the 2025 projections at the end of our presentation.
Okay, so in support of the initiative that Indiana has had for literacy, in 2022, former Governor Holcomb paired with the Lilly Endowment Corporation and invested $111 million towards the initiative. And then in 2023, the General Assembly added to that and added $60 million more to the funding, and that's kind of how the Indiana Literacy Cadre was born. Franklin schools are paired with Marian University. University of Indianapolis Cell is also a participant in the Indiana Literacy Cadre, so we are very fortunate to have all of the funding from Indiana and the Lilly Endowment as well behind us to help us with all of our efforts.
So the purpose of the position, the Literacy Cadre, Julie gave us a little bit of information about where those funds come from. We know that our end goal is to get to 95% of our third graders passing iRead by the end of the testing window, which this year is in June.
But how do we do that? So one of the first things is to increase the quality and effectiveness. So we have learned a lot through Marian University about explicit phonics instruction. Some of you may not remember how you learned to read. Some students just absorb it, but for the majority of students, learning each sound and symbol and the way that they go together to make words is imperative for student success. So we've learned a lot about that and how to implement that into the classrooms and training our teachers on it. We spend time co-planning and co-teaching with our teachers. We look at student data to determine what it is that students are lacking. We collect additional data to find specifically what students are lacking. If we have a group of students who already know the A consonant E rule, rather than have them sit through that again, we make sure that they're getting what they need next to continue to be successful. We partner with our administrators, looking at student success and talking with them about professional development and how we can provide that to our teachers. In most of our schools, we're doing a weekly professional development with teachers to share what it is that we've learned, and then also to assist in the implementation. So going back to that explicit phonics piece, there's a lot to be learned that goes along with that, and all of our classrooms, K through 2 and some 3, spend the first 40-ish minutes of the day receiving that explicit phonics instruction. So we're able to sit in our classrooms and provide feedback to those teachers about things that they can tighten up to make sure that we're really seeing a lot of student success.
Okay, so as Emily said, we have a lot of work that we've been doing in Franklin as part of the Indiana Literacy Cadre. One of the things that we're doing is increasing quality and effectiveness, and a lot of that is through professional development. We receive professional development every other week from Marian. We spent a week in the summer, 2 summers ago at Marian, getting a lot of training ourselves and a lot of professional development. So now we've been sharing that with teachers. So we've been building their knowledge around, as Emily said, explicit phonics instruction, giving our teachers some professional development so that they are able to utilize best practices, the practices that are aligned with the science of reading research, and what we know is best for students. Something else that we're doing is we use an approach from structured literacy called Orton-Gillingham, or OG for short. So all of our teachers, actually all of the teachers at Needham, that'll be a celebration that you hear a little bit later, all of the teachers at Needham are using OG to teach phonics instruction, and many of our K through 2 teachers are trained in OG, and as well as special ed and all of our Title I teachers who provide those Tier 2 services. We also, as Emily had said, are offering tiered phonics instruction. So we are utilizing something called multi-tiered systems of support, or MTSS. It is a way to really target the needs of each of our students so that if we have a student who needs additional instruction during the day, we are able to provide that for them. We are working really hard, and you can tell by all of our data and all of the student growth, to make sure that our teachers have this knowledge that they need so that they can provide instruction for our students.
Going along with that co-planning and co-teaching, you'll hear the word data a lot, but we're really digging into that to make sure that we're planning a success map for our students. Again, making sure that students are getting exactly what we need. We do have students at Webb who were able to start Orton-Gillingham starting in kindergarten, who are now 3rd graders, but we also get a lot of students who move in. So when we have 2nd graders and 3rd graders who come to our building for the first time and haven't had those previous years of OG, or explicit phonics instruction, you can tell almost immediately. So the question kind of became, how do we support those students who are new to us, making sure that they get the same education that the students prior to them received. So we've been doing a lot with small group OG. So we have a group for each of our grade levels, kindergarten through 4th grade, where students who are either move-ins or some of our most fragile readers are getting that individualized phonics knowledge that is maybe lower than what they're receiving in the classroom, to make sure that we're really bridging those gaps. We're also collecting more data to find out exactly what it is that our students who are at grade level need to continue building upon.
And a lot of this great work wouldn't be possible without partnering with our great administrators. We each meet with our principals weekly, maybe more depending on what's going on for the week. We meet with them to discuss the coaching cycles that we're on with individual teachers or grade levels, and we talk about our data, like Emily was talking about. We go over lots and lots of data from our DIBELS to our progress monitoring to any other intervention groups. We also plan for upcoming professional development, whether that's in our PLC time or early release or by individual grade level or teacher, and we talk about what's upcoming. We also have a literacy support specialist from Marion. Her name's Stephanie Bragg, and she visits every building once a month. So when she pays her visit to us, we meet with our principals and sit down and kind of talk about the professional development that's upcoming or going on and the needs of our own individual buildings.
And then along with all those factors comes assisting with implementation. So you've heard a lot about the professional development that we are receiving, the professional development we are providing, working alongside teachers. So within that, we are able to give a lot of continuous feedback and support with our teachers to assist in that explicit phonics instruction, very skill-specific student groups as we're working through some of these changes with our instruction. So, you know, after we deliver a professional development, our professional development support through PLCs, we are then following up with our teachers. So co-teaching, co-planning, but then going back into the classroom to provide feedback for them on how those lessons are going. That can be done through formal coaching cycles, through classroom visits. We even have some structured feedback forms for some of our explicit phonics instruction, kind of a checklist of what do we want to see from teachers during this part of the lesson, what do we want to see from students during this part of the lesson, and it gives us just kind of a structure that teachers can expect and kind of know what is it that we are wanting as we implement some of these new practices. So what you see on your screen here is Scarborough's Reading Rope. This is one of our anchors that we use as we talk about our science of reading research. You can see there's a lot of strands on this rope, and they are divided into two separate sections. We have language comprehension, and then we have our word recognition. Our word recognition, the bottom strand, is what you have heard us talk a lot about already tonight with explicit phonics instruction. Those are really those building blocks of decoding words and learning to read. So as we kind of think, using this reading rope, about some successes that we've seen in our buildings, for Northwood specifically, we have started implementing regular professional development time into our PLCs. So just about every week, I'm able to share professional development that is science of reading aligned with our staff, based on the things that I'm learning through the literacy cadre, as well as goals that we specifically have for Northwood and where we are currently at. We've been able to align our explicit phonics instruction through Orton Gillingham in grades K through 3 at Northwood, as well as some of our intervention groups in title and special education. Even our ML teacher is doing some additional groupings with her multilingual students that are centered around Orton Gillingham. And so we've been able to see a lot of growth through that. Northwood has made changes to some of our intervention structures. We've implemented some 6-step lesson plans, which is kind of a set of instructional routines that guides our intervention lessons. And we've been able to make those intervention groups very skill-based and really hone in on what it is that those specific students have deficits in, so that we can accelerate their learning and move them to the next level. Northwood has made changes to some of our data collection and data usage practices. We have a data collection team that kind of reduces variability in the building and in the scores when we do our universal screeners of all students. And then we've added in the use of diagnostic data and diagnostic assessments to really hone in on the specific skills that students have or don't have, so that we can base their instruction around that. We've been able to increase teacher knowledge and really give our staff a common language to use when we're talking about reading instruction, which has been very powerful. And because of all this learning that we've done, we are able to make some changes for next year, and we will be utilizing some differentiated Tier 1 phonics instruction to make sure that we are not only giving students phonics instruction during their intervention block, but during their Tier 1 phonics block as well. So I think that will be a big change for us that's really going to positively impact our students.
A lot of the celebrations that you'll hear across all grade level or all buildings and grade levels. But kind of going again with what Sarah was saying, we have learned so much through Marian University, and the amount of information and knowledge that we've been able to share with our teachers has been really exciting. We've seen a lot of conversation change around teaching students how to read, and it's not just coming from me anymore. It's very collaborative conversations in PLCs, which is exciting. There was a PLC recently where Mrs. Ray and I were able to watch teachers actually move students in different places and track the growth, and we were like, oh my gosh, they're doing it, it's happening. And it was just really exciting. It's exciting to, again, have such a passion and learn so much, and then also see that passion start to carry on in other teachers in your building too. Another one of the celebrations is, again, the differentiated OG. So these are typically students who have been very far below grade level, and you can imagine how that would look very different in a second grader or third grader than it would in a kindergarten or first grade student. So these are students who have fallen far behind and sitting through their typical third grade phonics instruction lessons would not be impactful. So being able to pull them out of the classroom to give them exactly what is on their level and watch them succeed has been really exciting. In fact, we had 6 of our most fragile third graders who were receiving differentiated phonics instruction for 40 minutes first thing in the morning, and then coming back into our literacy room to receive an additional 30 minutes of interventions. Of those 6, 5 of them did pass IEP. They took the test just a few weeks ago, which was really, really exciting, especially thinking that they were the ones who were most concerned about in that gen setting. Also, just the amount that we learned about assessing and how we can really find what it is that students need has been exciting to see that it's not just are students red or a yellow or a green, it's more like what is it that they're missing that are making them that color, and just being able to see just the excitement and the lower behaviors from some of our students. We have a fourth grade student in particular who was really discouraged in showing behavior, and this year as a fourth grader,
Okay, we're going to hear differentiated instruction again from you as well. So as Sarah and Emily have said, a lot of what we're doing, what we're learning, we are implementing across all 5 of our buildings. We're pretty consistent as far as implementing our learning and sharing that with our teachers, and then individualizing it for our students and for our own buildings. At Creekside, as I had said earlier, all of our K1 and 2 teachers have been trained in North Gillingham and are providing that instruction daily. All of our SPED teachers and most of our assistants have also been trained and are implementing that. Title I assistants and teachers have been trained. And then we have a pocket full, we have some pockets of other people in the building who have been trained as well, either formally or by myself informally. One big celebration that we have is we have 3 multilingual students who took iRead this past March, I guess just a couple of weeks ago, and all 3 of those students passed, so we were very excited about that. And I was talking to Dr. Hayden, he's my principal who couldn't be here tonight, about, I said, what are some things that you would like to celebrate? And, he said beyond kind of the overall picture, it's looking at those specific students. We have one student in mind who's just kind of been one of those fragile students who doesn't get a lot of support at home, and we kind of had our eye on him for the past few years, and he passed. So it's just very rewarding to see all of the hard work that everyone has done here, and that our administrators have done as well, our teachers have done. It's really paying off, and we have been saying for the past couple of years, just wait, we have to just wait another year, we're going to start to see this happen, we're going to start to see this growth, and we are. So we cannot wait to continue this journey for the next couple of years so that we can continue to grow our students and get up to that 97, 95%, 97%, I don't know, 100% passing rate that we're hoping for. Oh, I also also need to, yes, I also have shared for Mrs. Warner. So at Needham, her whole school, I think I had said earlier, her whole school is implementing OG instruction, K-4 special ed teachers and Title I teachers as well. They also have made changes in their instruction in those intervention groups to align with best science and reading practices using the 6-step lesson plan, which I think you are as well and you are as well. They're using diagnostic data to inform all of their instructional decisions. So again, if a student is falling behind, why are they falling behind? What is it that they're missing? What do they need to make those gains and get that, close that achievement gap? And then we've also been introduced to the Science of Reading and Dyslexia Toolkit on the Indiana Learning Lab website, and Allie and Needham, and I think we've all as well have been using some of that information to provide professional development to our teachers.
We've had a lot of great celebrations at Union this year. You're going to hear some of the same things that you've already heard 4 or 5 times, but we have implemented OG 3rd grade this year, which was a huge milestone to get that started up. We've also differentiated OG in 1st and 2nd grade. We've been able to have some small groups of some more fragile learners and also some extension of some of our more excelled learners. This year we were awarded an early childhood literacy grant from the Department of Ed, and with those funds we were able to have a professional development with Dr. Jamie Keebler, and she is a nationally known literacy expert who lives right here in Indiana, and we had an all-day PD with her, and she shared so much knowledge with her, even more than we've had from Marion, or in conjunction with what we've had from Marion, and we have referred to her professional development all year to make instructional shifts and instructional changes throughout teaching practices. We've also been fortunate at Union to kind of really hone in on, we've been really great at the Orton Gillingham and the word recognition. We've been able to move to some of the professional development and the language comprehension skills, and we've done a lot of work with vocabulary this year and background knowledge. And another celebration, kind of what Julie was saying, just thinking about those individual kids that, you know, we've worked with, blood, sweat, and tears over. We've had a group of 6th, 2nd, or 3rd graders now. As 2nd graders, they were not readers, and this year all of them passed IB. So that was a huge celebration, a lot of happy tears went in to those kids. One last thing is we at Union have had 2 years of 100% IB passing grades. So it was a great celebration for our teachers. As I said at the beginning, we've come back to the 2025 IREAD scores. I just told you what our school was, but the rest of our district, we're kind of waiting to see. We've got some retakes, so we don't have those final numbers in. We'll have those back in July, but we are on track to surpass our 2025 score right now with just the first take in March. So some students will have an opportunity to retake that, and then we'll have our final scores this summer.
Excellent work. Any questions for the group, team?
Do you have one?
Go ahead. No.
So I'm curious, you mentioned Needham is doing it K through 4, but every school not doing.
So their teachers have been trained K through 4. It was an expectation that all of our K2 teachers have been trained, and then kind of on an as-needed basis, or if teachers were, I guess, interested and curious, they could be trained as well.
Okay. And then you're with the most fragile students. Are they, when they're getting the extra time, is that during like other instruction time, or is it during reading?
No, so most of us are implementing the differentiated Tier 1 for phonics instruction. Okay. So I think Emily had talked about if a student, phonics has to be taught systematically. So we can't start teaching a skill up here before they've secured these skills down here. So based on their diagnostic assessments, we kind of target those needs and really try to accelerate their learning by giving them an additional dose during the day so that they're getting kind of double dose of instruction to close that achievement gap. So no, they're not pulled out of other instruction or missing anything else.
Thank you.
As a child of the late 80s and 90s, always appreciative that OG is a legitimate term and not just kid talk. When my son comes home and throws that around, I was confused at first, but I appreciate the clarity on that.
You are an OG.
Yeah, thank you. What can we do to help? I mean, is there something specific that we can do as a board outside of obviously to continue to support both, hopefully fiscally and then just as a whole? But are there any key roadblocks that the 4 or 5 of you can give us to be considerate of? Just bad timing.
Vacations?
I think we really appreciate just being able to share our journey and continue our journey in our work. It is a lot of hard work, and I think that all 5 of us have really enjoyed what we've been learning. I don't think we had any idea the amount that there was to learn. I've been so intrigued by it that I received a 10X grant through Franklin Schools to receive my master's degree in reading science from Mount St. Joseph University, where Dr. Piegler was one of my first professors. So it's very exciting to see and hear and just read about all of the new information. It's definitely different from when we went to school, or even when I taught. I've been in Franklin for 27 years, at Creekside for 27 years, and I've been out of the classroom, I guess, now for 7. And even just 7 years ago, we were doing things differently. And when you know better, you do better. We've heard that so many times. So we're all very excited, and we're grateful for your support.
If you don't mind, I would like to talk about a few next steps, just so that you know where we are. The principals are aware, the coaches are aware with regards to where the state is in this process. So we were part of Cadre 2. That cadre now is scheduled to end in May of this year. They came back to us about, I don't know, a month ago maybe, and asked if we wanted to apply for Cadre 4. So the first year of the cadre, they covered 2/3-ish of their salaries. If I misspeak, let me know. The second year, they covered 1/3 of the salaries, and then we were asked to cover the other component. If we participate in Cadre 4, they would continue that 1/3 funding for 2 years. Now, we are trying to temper expectations because they are prioritizing any school that is under 70% on iRead performance. Those official scores will post in July after the 3rd administration. So we will administer the iRead assessment again in May at all, well, not at Becky's building, but at the other 4 buildings, for 2nd and 3rd graders. We will also administer again in June at the end of summer school for 3rd grade. After that administration, the final scores will come out in July. Becky said that we're on track. We are already above, I will say, 82%. So we're on track to surpass the last 2 years. So we're pretty excited about that. Our goal at the beginning of the year for this year was 85 to 87. I'm fairly confident we're going to be in that range. So, and kudos to these individuals, to our principals, to our teachers. Before we found out from Marion that they were interested in inviting us back, and it would be all 5 buildings, we had decided, given where we are in our budgeting for 26 budget, that we would bring back 4 of the 5. So when you ask what can you do, that's what we've told them at this point. We are now waiting to hear from Marion to see what opportunity might exist before progressing further. But that is where we sit, full transparency on the literacy coaches. Thank you. You're welcome. Excellent work.
Thank you.
I was going to ask, so if for some reason they say no, do you feel like you've had enough training and you have enough support to be able to continue this on your own just by what you've learned so far?
Dr. Warland already, and we have learned so much from Marion, and it was truly we kind of talked about what that could look like in the future. Right now, we meet with Marion for professional development every other week. We have a site coordinator once a month. She has 2 buildings. So we had talked about kind of continuing something similar, deciding what our buildings needed and selecting the professional development off of that. We could together to watch it and discuss it and talk about implementation. There's still a lot of components from the project that we want to continue. And kind of having those professional development videos would be a good resource if
And Becky, we have learned from the cadre, from Marion, that they are willing to tailor, were we to be selected, they would tailor the experience to the needs of our buildings, which was a key component for us. We didn't want a repeat of the last 2 years. We really wanted to take it to the next step.
That's awesome. Yeah. Exciting.
Thank you.
Great job.
Great job.
Thank you,
Thank you
great
very
work.
much.
Thank you to our principals as well. They worked hard.
Okay, facility update.
Do we need to go sit out there?
You know what, hang on a second. Do you guys want to go sit? Would you rather sit down and watch him walk through it? Do you want to hit? You want to say beep every time you go to a
Oh,
new
is it?
slide?
Okay. Say beep.
Okay. All right.
That's fine.
No, I'm on, right?
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Glendening and Board, for allowing us to be here this evening, give you an update on projects, just for introductions. My name is Kevin Shelley. We've met previous board meetings, Principal of Schmidt Associates, and with me tonight is Bob Ross. He's a civil engineering project manager on the projects at the high school. As Dr. Glendening mentioned earlier, just an update on the other projects, the preschool, we're finalizing contract negotiations and wrapping that part of the project up. And we start this night to be out there real soon here this month. This is going to be starting out there on the preschool project. But specifically talking about the outdoor improvements, and we will advance the next slide. Maybe. I'm pushing the button, I promise.
We can't tell otherwise.
Right.
I just want you all
Doing a hell of a job.
Is it going?
We actually can see it.
Technology. Yeah, that's good.
You just let me know that.
Okay, how about we go to the next slide?
All right.
We'll be beeps for everybody. Let me try again. Maybe let's put me here. Okay, I'll just give an overview and then I'll let Bob walk into the specifics about the project. So this is a project for the high school site, and it affects athletics and performing arts and agriculture program for the high school. So big picture, we're going to be doing new synthetic turf fields. There'll be 3 support buildings for the site, for the baseball and softball, for the ag building, for the performing arts. We'll get involved with more specifics. There'll be sidewalks and new drives to help support that around the site. And then we're also looking, as we look at the budget, we identified an alternate, which basically means we'll take bids for it, but we'll be a choice. If the budgets are in line, we'll be able to do it. If not, we won't. And that's for the sports lighting and lighting for other fields. Right now, we're looking at a construction cost of about $13.2 million is what we've estimated. Again, we're going to be going out to bid to find out exactly what the market's going to tell us on that. Our plan right now is we're wrapping up design, and the idea would be is we're out to bid in June, so we could have receive bids in July, come to you in August likely for a contract approval, bid approval, and then start construction. The whole idea being ready for the spring season for some of the fields for baseball, softball, spring of '26. Doesn't mean everything will be done by spring of '26, but that will be the idea to get the fields ready and other things will roll out from there. I'm going to let Bob roll.
All right, so you got a picture of each one, and we'll go through some of the key items. If you have questions, let me know. So this is the soccer field. Big highlight, synthetic turf fields, new soccer netting on both the north and south sides. The soccer balls don't go far out. And And then on the east side, you can see the existing press boxes kind of in the center there. New changing room addition to both the north and south that can accommodate multiple sports, soccer and tennis in particular, as close to those. And then new sidewalks around the building that you guys added last year, I believe, to be able to access around that ADA a little bit better. And then again, of course, the alternate here would be new lighting, which would affect both tennis and soccer due to how the poles are right now. This is softball, so I'm going to talk about the hitting building here as well, but it also affects baseball, so it's just easier to view in this graphic. So new synthetic turf field, the bleachers, press box and dugouts are going to stay, but you're going to get new fencing and new turf all the way around, and then new orientation of the bullpens as well. And then you can see in the northwest corner there, the new hitting facility, which would have 4 cages, and then changing facilities on each side and public restrooms on the east side, as well as some coaches' storage areas inside of there. Then this is baseball, so that hitting facility is directly south of there. It's in between, so each have access. It's kind of a swale there now that's going to be filled in. So again, same thing as softball here. New turf field, new fencing, the dugouts, press box, and bleachers all stay, and then new bullpens as well. And then the alternate you can see for lighting as well. So you can kind of see the outline. The fence, we're actually going to pull, softball stays the same, baseball's going to pull in a little bit for home plate, so you're not going to have as big of a backstop as you do now. And then for performing arts and bands, so I'm going to start with the performing arts building. It's about a 2,000 square foot storage building closer to the high school. That's for stage equipment and a bunch of different things as they're moving in and out.
It's on the lower right hand.
By your logo, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
sorry.
You're good.
Which will have new sidewalks and a little bit of a new drive there as well. And then moving kind of north, you can see kind of a very similar building next to the new turf field. That'll be storage for band, and then the band practice field, which is a full football field that can be used for multiple different things there. With the yellow dot there, the yellow square is the new band tower that you can be able to see across, so that they can have a full facility to use. And then the drive loop there will accommodate both ag and performing arts and band, so that trailers and things like that can move in and out. It is not a parking lot, but it is for trailers to be able to pull in and out. And then for the agricultural program, you can see kind of a closer up. It's a new building that will have a classroom area, an office, and some restrooms, and then we'll also have a lab area and a kind of a open space area for pens and other things that they want to do out there, kind of towards the north. And then on the south end is a vegetable prep area as well. And then you can see the existing 3 fields out to the west. We're planning on keeping those, and the hoop house, and then new fencing that's going to kind of enclose that whole area, as well with some new sidewalks to get them from their classroom, which is on the southwest side, all the way up to this new area. As you may know, it's kind of a hill up there, so there's some sidewalks and things to get around. So we can go back to any of them if you have any questions.
I do have a question. Right now, is the soccer field, is it grass right now? So it's being changed to turf?
Yep.
Okay. And then like the softball and baseball, are they already turf?
They're not.
They're not?
They're natural turf.
Oh, they are?
They're going to switch to synthetic turf. Yep.
Okay. That's going to be a learning curve.
We did actually walk multiple different facilities with Bill and then the coaches as well to look at different types of turf. Maybe you're familiar. There's a lot of different ways you can go with that. So
Yeah.
we have been out and looked at different fields.
Can you talk about the red lines on the soccer field?
Oh yeah, that is for lacrosse. They're a little faint on the picture here, but it is a unified lacrosse striping so that both boys and women can play out there for future lacrosse. And then the netting that's going to go behind it will be designed for both soccer and lacrosse balls, so that those are not, because those lacrosse balls are smaller and things like that, so that's a different type of netting that you need, but be designed for both.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
It's well overdue, I think. I think we've all had the conversation that, you know, enrollment's a competitive space, and a lot of these improvements are much needed to put us back in hopefully a leadership position in that race for all things academics, obviously, but then extracurriculars are a much more important thing, I think, than they used to be as far as where kids go to school. So pretty excited about this, and think it's been a long time coming. Appreciate you guys' efforts in this. And personally, I appreciate your ability to be flexible on the late addition to the bathroom request in the hitting barn. I think that while it sounds elementary, I think it's really important. As someone who's attended quite a few events out there, it's an unfortunate hike if you're watching a JV baseball game and happen to have to go to the bathroom. And so it's quite the haul to get back to the football field to be able to go to the bathroom. So I appreciate your flexibility, and like I said, I know it maybe seems minute, but when you're looking at spending what we're going to spend, I think a bathroom facility is something that's important. So.
And there will be men's and women's restrooms.
That's important too, probably, yeah. Yeah. Right, yeah. So thank you for that. I know it's probably a curveball, but no pun intended.
Bob, on the softball, I think that you're also going to have the present outdoor hitting space moved down, right? Is that correct?
That is correct. So currently where that new hitting facility is, you can kind of see it overlays the existing batting cages, so baseballs aren't being interrupted, but we are going to, kind of on the southeast side, add a new batting cage outdoors, so that if they want to be indoors or before a game, whatever that is, they'll have a batting cage outside as well.
And also, you said it's not a parking lot, but on the Performing Arts and Agricultural Complex, those rectangles will be parking facility, that we're going to park the trailers there, is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, so the, kind of, you see the big square and the medium and the smaller, those are the three trailers that they have currently.
Right.
Two to the north are potential containers if needed. I know that's still in conversation, so it can all fit back there. And then the other square that you may see up there in the northeast corner of that concrete pad is the transformer. So it's a new service that's going to have to feed those buildings.
It's exciting. Look forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Okay, the master schedule update.
The high school just completed all of their student requests and requirements, and one that I need to make sure everybody's aware of. We only had a very few number of kids sign up for the Japanese foreign language class. Unfortunately, it's not even enough to offer the class. So we know that there are students that need Japanese 3 and 4 to maybe to complete their honors program. We will continue to do that for next school year. However, we will not be able to continue at the high school the Japanese program based on the master schedule. When you go to the middle school, we will continue to offer all 3 Spanish, French, and Japanese in the world culture class with an opportunity, if the program grows again, we'll consider that again as we move forward. But I want to, Mr. Ahaus and I did meet with the teacher right before spring break to talk about that, so she's aware. We'll be letting the students and their parents know, but the kids that have participated in for 2 years or more will continue for them. The kids in the first year, we'll ask them probably to jump over because they can still get their 3 years for their honor diploma as we travel forward. But I wanted to make sure the board was aware of that, one, because that's probably the most significant change that we have coming forward.
Do we know how many students that is getting year 3 and 4 or 5?
Do you remember how many kids were in year 3 or 4?
Okay.
Yeah. Very few.
Okay.
Which is unfortunate because we know we have great partnerships. We do different things with Coogee, but we'll continue to look for ways to provide that. But I wanted to make sure the board and the community is aware of the situation, and we'll be notifying the parents as well. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to action items. Are there any public comments? All right, and then we'll do the second reading of the policies.
Yes, and one I'd like to highlight is A100. This is the non-discrimination, anti-harassment policy. And recently there was an executive order to change language. I had to submit a document to IDOE last week saying that we were complying with executive orders with regards to diversity, inclusion, equity, as well as any policies that we would have. This policy reflects that. You'll notice in the policy that the red highlight talks about gender and gender identity are the two areas that the executive order asked us to remove. We did meet, and this is just a technical correction. Nothing changes. Everyone's still going to get protected. There'll be no harassment, but I'm coming to the board tonight so that you're aware and we're in compliance with the executive orders. Remaining second readings are all very similar to what, nothing's changed in any of those others that we had presented. We did have one technical review, I'm sorry, in the debt management. I believe Ms. Gross had one where she elevated the dollar amount, is that right, from 5,000 to 10,000?
That's actually in the first reading.
Oh, it's in the first reading,
Yeah,
okay.
I'll talk about that.
Okay.
Are there any questions?
So I recommend approval of all second readings.
Any questions?
Move to approve the policies as presented.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, signal by saying aye. Aye. And opposed? It passes. And then recommendation to hire individual under CA 342.
President Nelson, you're aware of this one, but with the other four board members, they may not be, but Senate Enrolled Act 342 says that the school board can hire certain people that may not, they'll come back with something on their background checks. The person before us had a DUI back in 2001. And we are required to pull them out separately from the personnel items on the consent and have you vote on them individually. So tonight, I'm bringing forth the recommendation to hire a substitute teacher who at the time of 2001 in Monroe County was arrested for operating while intoxicated. So that's what I'm doing tonight. I just want to make sure everybody's aware of this.
Is there also, because there's a note on here, operator motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol, 2/20 of 2015,
Okay.
Jefferson County, Kentucky?
Yeah, that is the same one. I was not aware of that one because they told me about the 2001. This person obviously will not be taking anyone to and from places.
This isn't a transportation hire,
No, this
right?
is not, but it is a substitute teaching situation.
Yeah.
Thank you, David, for bringing that to my attention.
Any questions on that?
Have we done this before?
We've had probably less than 5 total people, but we have done it before.
And I assume it showed whatever came of these arrests, whether it was court ordered or not,
Yeah.
they've completed.
Yeah. We also, this person did disclose it on their application. We've had several candidates that you wouldn't even get to that didn't disclose it, and when we ran the background check, it came back as something on a violation. If that's the case, I don't bring them to you. We don't continue their employment or seek their future employment if they can't complete the application correctly.
Any other questions?
I make a motion to approve.
Need a second? So Dr. Clendenning, we don't have a second. What do
So-
we need to do?
If I may, you could make a second and then vote it down.
Yeah. that's
That
what
would be
I
my suggestion.
So would somebody want to make a second for us to vote?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Signal by saying nay.
Nay.
Nay. Motion doesn't pass.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, discussion, curricular proposal. Brooke?
Yes, there are 3 of them on the first document that's linked. The other documents are supporting documents, but the first document explains the requests, and there are really 3 individual requests. So the first really resulted from, if you jump to the why, the current curriculum provider we have is no longer in business after this school year, and we are required by Indiana code to ensure that we offer K through 12 a curriculum that's research and or evidence-based on child abuse and child sexual abuse. So this is a curriculum we've been in conversation with the IDOE. This is a curriculum, a foundation they're recommending. We've talked to other schools that are using this curriculum. We've worked with our school counselors, our mental health team, and with parents to look at this particular curriculum. So it is the one that we are presenting as the replacement for the one that we will no longer have. And there is attached terms and conditions that would need to be signed, and then the invoice. You can see the cost of that curriculum. The second is mystery writing. This one actually came to me from our teachers in our K through 4 buildings. We have a number of teachers, a number of them at Creekside, and I think maybe a couple at Northwood, who've been using the free version of this writing program and have asked if we can pilot for next year. I often try, if teachers come up through the ranks with requests and suggestions that they find, I try to honor that if we can. I will tell you, the Literacy Cadre, IDOE, Marion, all of them have told me it's difficult to find an affordable writing program. And so they have asked if we come across some things and we pilot them to please be in conversation with them. We already have Discovery Science. It's a component of that curriculum, again, that they've been offering for free. We fell in love with it, and now it's no longer free. So we are asking to pilot that particular resource, and there's some additional information there. Our current writing component in our reading program is not as robust as we would like, and we've tried some other programs and still haven't found the one we love. So that's where we are with that particular component. 7 Mindsets is a request that's coming primarily out of the high school from our administrative team, our alternative education team, our mental health team. It is an online curriculum that they would like to use to partner with our staff for students who are repeating the same discipline errors. So it's a repetitive nature. We're not learning. So this is a curriculum that we thought we would try to see if that helps us in conjunction with the personal engagement. They also have a vaping curriculum that our mental health team seems to think might be a good curriculum for our students that are struggling with vaping and substance abuse. So you will see some additional explanation there. Those attachments are there. I will add, I will update this invoice prior to the May meeting because the dates on this invoice have us starting in, I think it's March or April, and I told them approval won't be received until May. We might as well start the contract in August. The amount on that invoice will not change, but the dates will before the May meeting. So I just want to clarify that for the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Brooke. we'll go to the first reading of the policies.
We met with Mr. Yant to go over the policies, and just a reminder, any policy that has an R after it is a guideline. And one of the things that we adopted as we moved to Churchill and Antrim is to bring both policies and guidelines to the board. And so you'll notice that like A275R is actually the guideline we've already approved, A275, and now this has us come back and walk through how we're going to actually implement the policy. So we did review those, and I do think on F125 we do have one change that Ms. Gross wanted to highlight.
Yes, this was kind of a last minute change, but the federal guidelines increased for fixed assets from 5,000 to 10,000, which means we would capitalize and tag items with a purchase price of greater than 10,000. We would also capitalize improvements to buildings over 10,000 as well. We are recommending to go to this new amount. However, we are looking at ways to track some of our higher theft items that we want to go ahead and track, but not necessarily capitalize within the inventory system. So you'll see throughout, starting on page 8, but over the next several pages, you'll see that 5,000 be increased to 10,000.
Thank you, President Nelson.
Okay, are there any public comments on discussion items? All right, we'll move into board and administrative comments. Are there any board comments? Any administrative comments?
I will answer your question from before. The second group is the referendum, and so a lot of those are the stipends that came out of referendum.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
President Nelson, I believe each of you at your tables have a flyer, 2 flyers from Mrs. Kirby. She wanted to let all of you know when her AP research presentations were and her AP seminar presentations were later this month. They are pretty cool. If you've never been, I know Dr. C and I have both attended, so the students do a great job.
Over the next several weeks, you're going to get a lot of invitations to go to different events. This is one example. Friday night, we have the annual Ag Banquet, 5:30 hors d'oeuvre, 6 o'clock program. Also Friday night is the Bill Self track meet. Bill Self was a former longtime coach teacher, and they have an annual track meet with HSE and several other schools coming down for that. Prom is on April the 25th. Remember, that is an e-learning day for us. And it's also Senior Project Day at the school. If you've never had a chance to judge a senior project, please reach out to Mr. Ahaus. He can connect you with Mrs. Weedman, and you guys can sit through that. It's a great opportunity to see a capstone event for our kids and the things that they've learned through their mentorship and program development. And then as we look towards graduation coming up, it's just a few weeks away. It is on Saturday. I believe it is the 22nd. Is that right? 24th. Just a couple things for the board. We need to be at the high school by 9 o'clock. The ceremony starts at 10. Mr. Ahaus will be presenting all of the graduates in alphabetical order. We divide up into 20% of each of those kids, and that's who you actually give your diploma to. If there is a student that you would like to give the diploma, a couple ways. One, like I was talking to Miss Mann, like in her daughter's case, she might want to just take that 20% of the alphabet, so she's guaranteed to get her daughter. If there is somebody that's out of your 20%, right before they come up, so 2 people before they're announced, you would just trade places with that board member handing out the diploma. You would hand out the diploma, you'd shake their hand, that student comes to center stage, takes a picture with Mr. Ahaus and myself, and then walks off to the right side to meet the rest of the faculty and goes back to their seat. Okay, so we'll be getting that out as soon as possible. Also, last week you should have received information about a gown. If you do not have one, that's fine. I believe talk to Ms. Green or let Mrs. Campbell know, and she will make sure you have that. If you have one from your own graduation, you're free to wear that. I know that's what I end up wearing. I think Dr. Warland wears hers as well from her studies.
Oh, if it only fit.
So anyway, next topic. But anyway, if you need one, please let us know. We'll make sure you get that. And moving forward. So that's graduation. It's an exciting time. If for some reason it is an inclement weather day, we are going to stay and try to graduate on that day. We'll just move the time back as much as possible. And then if for something it'd be a complete washout, we're going Sunday, correct? Huh?
Probably more so try to move it inside. But,
okay.
Would be just because of the cost of the event and the people involved in the event. So,
okay.
We try to get it done on that day.
Yep.
Saturday. We try to get graduation. So
yep.
If we had to, we could. So we will come up with a plan to get that done.
All right.
We're going to get it done outside.
Any other questions or comments about graduation that we need to know about?
Signing diplomas will come, and that we'll send those your way, and each of you get them and you sign them. And just as kind of, I know that's a lot of signing to sign all those diplomas, but each of you will need to sign them, and then we'll need to get them back because we have to sign them. And so we will get those out here in the next couple weeks, and that's something that kind of is timely that needs to be done. We can get those done.
Okay, thank you. So if anybody wants them first, just let Natalie know and she'll get them. Otherwise, Natalie is the conduit of the diploma passing. So once you finish, you bring them back in, she calls the next person or delivers the next group and hands them out. And then Steve and I are the last 2 to sign as we get ready to get everybody. Okay, exciting time. It's a great time, a lot of smiles that day, but we're looking forward to it. All right.
Anything on the calendar of events? I know you kind of went over some things there.
One is coffee with the superintendent coming up on April the 15th. I don't think, and we're going to talk about some of the new policies that are before us, the new laws, and some of those things. One that I want to make sure that we're aware of is Senate Bill 1. Senate Bill 1 deals with property tax and the impact it's going to have on our school district. I think that there's something new that would cause Ms. Gross to lose sleep. It might be Senate Bill 1. Senate Bill 1 is going to have a significant impact. Right now, in the most recent run that we've seen is that we would lose about 1.1 million in 26, about 1.2 in 27, and then about 1.3 in 28. So that's obviously a very significant amount of money on top of our circuit breaker. Also in Senate Bill 1 is the removal of LIC tax, which is local income tax. If you're a Cadgett County, and we are, what does that mean for us? $1.7 million. So like I said, if you want to talk to Tina at about 2 in the morning sometime, give her a call. But it really is pretty significant. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. What does that look like? This summer, we're going to have a full retreat, and we're going to talk about different things along the time of the budget. Also, on the House bill side, they deal with the revenue. The Senate deals with the property tax. The House deals with the revenue. One of the things that they're anticipating is about a 2% increase in revenue. However, one of the things that they're putting in is the textbook rental portion, which we no longer have to have parents pay for textbook rental. That's going to be put into the foundation. So Tina will have to back that out before we get any new money delivered to our teachers for negotiations. And that's significant. So you're really then looking at a very small % gain inside of that. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Another legislative bill that was passed that both houses is school board elections are going to move to declaration of political affiliation. That's going to come. And the last one is referendum. Inside Senate Bill 1, they're moving all referenda to general election cycles. So 26 and 28 in November. So that's the other thing that we're looking at. They're trying to get more participation, more voice from the community.
Did they get rid of the 1-year gap thing?
Well,
Or do you know?
they did. However, if you go to general election and you're only doing it on the election year, they've created their own gap.
Yeah.
So those are things we're going to talk about. Brooke and Tina, is there any others that you're following closely beyond those that I've highlighted?
The debt service rate, you know, the range of,
Yes.
right now it's 40 to 80 cents. We go through the petition remonstrance process. I think they're looking at reducing that to 40 to 70 cents. So we will need to consider that when we go for sale on this bond to see how close we might get. But I'm not sure that we can get to 70 cents before 26.
Yep.
So luckily, we have the high school rolling off in 27, so we would definitely go below that 70 cent threshold. But a lot can change in the next couple of weeks, so.
On that same, right now at 80 cents, you may have a referendum on anything above. At 70 cents in the new law, it's required. So that's the other thing, that they've made some changes. So there's some significant financial impacts to the present biennium budget that we're talking about inside the superintendent, coffee with the superintendent tomorrow at Main and Madison. Our middle schoolers are heading to DC. They are flying for the first time in several years to head out, and they're going to leave early in the morning on the 25th, and they'll be back late that Sunday night. I talked about prom, talked about senior project. We do have end of the year celebration and recognition on April 28th, and that is at the high school again. Is that right, Ms. Betts? You're all invited to that. That's where we honor the retirees as well as recognize years of service to us. And then looking ahead to August, we do have a joint meeting with the city of Franklin. One thing that I know is going to be on the topic, and it's something that Ms. Mann brought up, Simon Road. There has been a lot of conversation recently about Simon Road and our kids coming from Simon Farms to the high school. And that elbow, whatever the name of it, Mr. Betts, what's that road? 100? 150? We have some kids walking there early in the mornings, and people are like, someone's going to get hurt. Mr. Betts attended a meeting this past week about ways to make it safer. So we're going to have that as a topic in the joint city council meeting. But I know that they're even planning some things this summer to try to alleviate that. So that's one of the topics that we're talking about inside the joint city council meeting.
And probably property taxes.
And probably property taxes, that's correct. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
All right, we are adjourned.